Hey, everybody. Welcome back to day 81 of 100 Days of Halloween and happy I Love Yarn Day. Yes, it is I Love Yarn Day. So, 100 Days of Halloween. What am I doing? Real quick. So, my lovely yarny friend and sister Ranee over at the Woolly Llama shop discussed with several of us on a live that she was wanting to do a special project for the Halloween fall season, all 100 days. And her brilliant idea was to do a square day for the 100 days in either a fall or Halloween or summerween themed colorway, applique, what have you. And I thought it was a brilliant idea. Had been wanting to do a Halloween themed blanket for quite some time due to lifey events, just had not found the time. So I decided I was going to join in solidarity and do this blanket with her. And so here we are. So what we've been doing is she scoured the interwebs, compiled this big long list of either 100 squares or appliques that were fall or Halloween themed. Each one correlates with a number that she has been drawing at random every day except for Saturday and Sunday. She gives you a threefer on Fridays because of her work schedule and provides you with either a applique pattern or tutorial or a square. And she is comprising her blankets. She has had to pivot. As she states, it is no longer just 100 squares. And if you want to see all the details of the blanket that Spiders built, please go check Rainy out if you haven't already. It's a awesome um, storyline from the very beginning and all of the different transitions she's had to curveballs. So, but we also have some other Yarny friends and sisters joining in. They did not commit to blankets, however, because they had a lot of lifey stuff going on and other projects, etc. So we have Patricia over at the Yarn Cat Crochet who decided she was going to go a different direction. And she has made so far 3 projects, I believe, that she has dropped a video for. She's made a crossbody bag for the fall season while she's out and about doing different fall things. And then she turned around and made a matching scarf. And then she went totally rogue and she has done an amigurumi. And Lord only knows what else she's got up her sleeve. We never know until she drops a video and surprises us, which is awesome. And then we have Nova over at Nova Gnome Creations, who is making squares and dropping a video about once a weekish to update on her squares. But those are being turned into wearables for herself and some near and dear littles in her life. And she's not going to reveal those finished projects until she does her 13 days of Halloween celebration. And we are looking forward to that as well. But Rainey and I are doing the blankets. And even though ours are a little different, we're all of us girls are all still doing the fall thing, the 100 days of Halloween together. And then we have some of you lovelies who have joined in and have started posting and sending pictures of your makes that you have been making, and they are awesome. And I plan on doing a video montage of everybody's pictures that get sent in or posted on my posts. And I will probably do that montage on Halloween. So you guys still have plenty of time if you're working on something to get the pictures in. I don't know what's going on. To get the pictures in. I'm trying to turn the volume down. Um, I will take pictures until for the video up until the day before Halloween. And that way I have time to put the video together to do Halloween morning and then go from there. So even if you're making coasters that are fall or Halloween themed, post them or send them to us. We would love to see everything you're making, even if it's just an applique to be used at a later date from one of the ideas that Rainey has drawn from her Jinx Jack-o'-lantern of joy, send it. Send it. We want to see. If it's an amigurumi that could fall under fall or Halloween, send it. We want to see those as well. So, what I'm doing a little different, she's drawing the ideas at random, whether she uses them or not on a daily basis. I'm not doing the idea thing. I am drawing my squares at random from my Boo Box of Fate because I had a bunch of squares made up in advance. From when we started, I was just going to appointments and everything. And while I waited, I was just using scraps and all that to make squares to be prepared for appliques or whatever. And then for if the square needs some kind of motif, applique, whatever, I am going off inspiration from you guys, from suggestions and guesses on my videos. I've comprised a list. Not sure how many I'm going to be able to get on the blanket, but we're going to work on it. And we only have 19 more days, 19 more days of squares. So, I'm also taking inspiration from the random draw that Rainey's doing. Some of her random draws, I've already done them before she even draws them. And then there's some of them I'm like, oh, I have to make that. And then I've also taken some inspiration from Nova and from Patricia. So, plus things I've seen out in the wild while I'm out and about and while I was on vacation. So, there's a little bit of everything sprinkled in this blanket. And so, we are starting a new batch of 10 today. We have already done squares 1 through 80. And so yesterday's square that we drew at random happened to be from the Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo Stripes in the Brights. We had made a bunch of these and used up almost a whole skein. With the exception of a smidgy bit that we used on some, I think it was candy appliques later, just to use up the rest of it. Um, and that was one of the squares that we drew. And let's see what you guys said as to whether I should have left it or put something on it. Okay. Sam says, hi, Missy. You put 79 in the title, honey, for yesterday. I did realize that and I did fix it. Great idea, Ruth and Missy. You definitely did it justice. Enjoy another night off. Lovely. She's referring to the square I did yesterday. That was a sketch that was sent in by one of our viewers, Ruth. And I took inspiration from it and put it on a square. And I did get feedback from her. She did email me back and she absolutely loved it. She was so, so stoked. She basically, I could tell from the email, was jumping for joy that I put her idea on a square. And I am only happy that I did it because her sketch was awesome and it gave me some very good inspiration. And I thank you, Ruth, for doing that. That was awesome. And I know she waited patiently until I had the perfect square and could figure out how to do it. And because I didn't want to disappoint. So there was that. And then Christina from Bella Uncinetto said, awesome. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. Lisa from Lisa Knits said, hi, Missy. Hi, Lisa. Karen Smith said, I love your square today. That was referring to the zombie climbing out of a grave yesterday. Ranee from the Woolly Llama Shop said, I love it. Thanks, Ruth, for the awesome idea. I'm guessing your super massive black hole. Nah, just leave it blank. And then Ann Windrose said, another great square. Your blanket is going to be looking fantastic. I live in the UK and do a lot of crocheting, but mainly garments. And she's the opposite of me. I rarely ever do garments. Usually with garments, it's usually either hats or scarves or fingerless gloves. Bucket list things. I haven't done a cardigan in forever. And I really want to do a cardigan at some point. I kind of have an idea in my head, but I just have to find the time because I know it's a large undertaking. Thank you guys for commenting on yesterday's video. So we did leave the square blank. And if you are new here, there is a reason. Some of these are so pretty, I didn't want to cover them up with the way the colors transitioned, but I've also made some extra appliques that ended up, when I was working them up, being a little too large to go on a one square, and I don't want them to go to waste once we are finished with this blanket. So a lot of these I'm going to strategically place so they're either side by side or stacked. That way I can put those larger appliques on there and use them, because I did put the work into them and I still want them on my blanket. So yeah, we left this blank. Excuse me. And at some point, if some of these don't end up having one of the extra large appliques or the appliques that I said ate their Wheaties, I will figure out things to put on some of them. Um, but I want to make sure I have room for those first. So there we go. That was yesterday's, well, today's square that we drew randomly yesterday. So we're going to draw from the Boo Box of Fate and see what square we are working with tomorrow. And if you are new, anytime when I draw the square, I have until the next day to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I never know. And you guys are guessing or suggesting what you think it's going to be. There's been a bunch of times where people have been right, and they must have been like reading my mind. Um, and then sometimes I get inspiration from those. I've been writing them down to do at a later date. But I never know what color square we're going to be working with until we draw it out of the box. And then I have until tomorrow to do the square and see where we go with that. And we're getting down to bare bones. There's not many squares left in the box from what we started with. Before, it was so full, it was hard to shake them up and mix them around and all of that. And now you can't even see them, but they're in there. Yep. Um, and in the description box, if I happen to find an applique, either a written pattern or a tutorial online, and that's what I use on that day's square, I will put the information in the links in the description box so that you are able to find those if they've inspired you to make them, to use on something and or to use in a project. So let's see which one we're working with tomorrow. Okay, well, we're going to veto this one because we just did this color yesterday. So let's mix them around. I don't want two colors basically back to back. Nope, we just did one in that color. Like I said, guys, we're getting bare bones. Okay, we'll go with this one. And I only vetoed those two because we had just done ones in those colors. So we have sparkly black. So you guys put your guesses and suggestions as to what we're going to put on sparkly black for tomorrow. And we'll come back tomorrow and see what we did with it. And yes, a lot of these have no ends woven in because I was working on them randomly all over the place at appointments and stuff. And as they were done, I was just throwing them in piles. Um, so sparkly black. We know it's not going to be a bat unless we use some fun colors or something. I don't know. I'll have to look at my list of inspiration and see what we're going to do with it. So yeah. So that is that for today's square for tomorrow. And a little bonus, because today is I Love Yarn Day. Brian and I had to go out of town. He had to pick up some prescriptions, and there is a Hobby Lobby right there, and I haven't been in there in ages. So I knew he was going to be waiting for a little bit because there was another one he was going to have them fill while he was there. And so I had him drop me off, and I was going to go in and do a look see and see if there was anything I wanted to bring home. And I did get a painting for my living room because wall art was 50% off, but I didn't bring it in here to show you guys. Um, and of course, it has cows on it. I mean, come on. I have cows in the backyard. Um, but I know it wasn't 30% off yarn week, but I did get some. And there's a reason. They all have a um, specific uses in mind. So, because it's I Love Yarn Day. So, so the first thing I got, oh, and it's losing its dress, was some I Love This Yarn. And this is the color Cinnamon Cedar. And I have not made any pumpkins yet this year. I always make pumpkins. And I wanted to do some different ones because every year when I do my pumpkins, they're always different and they're always fun colors and everything. I've even done rainbow pumpkins. So I thought this color was very pretty, very fall. um and normally, you guys know I don't use these kind of colors, but I have an idea in mind. So I only got one skein of this, the cinnamon cedar, and I don't think I've had this colorway before. So there was that one. And then I saw this one, and I've never seen this one before. So I'm not sure if it's new, but it's I Love This Yarn in print, and it is called Orange Burst. Um right here. And it's got all of these very fall, like a toffee brown, several different shades of orange, a little blue, a little like magenta pink, some beige, all of that. It's so pretty. So pretty. And I grabbed two of them because I have a specific project in mind. Very specific. And I'm pretty certain that this is enough. So just to make sure, I grabbed two. And if there's enough left over and I can make another one, perfect, because you guys know I donate probably 98% of everything I make to hospice. So anything extra that I make that I'm not going to use gets donated or gifted to a family member. And then, last but not least, you guys know that here lately, a bunch of us, for fun little like palette cleanser projects, have been woobling. um, because they are pretty quick makes and they are fun. And we've been doing a lot of the Halloween ones and stuff like that. And recently they had the easy peasy yarns in our Walmarts, and they weren't selling very well because they were such a high end price. And they had marked them down really low in my store, and I had gotten some to make extras because they're little things that you can, like, my idea is to make extras. I can donate them, but I can also, as I make little extra ones, I can keep them in my person. Like if we go to eat at a restaurant like we did today, while we were up there, we decided to go to a late lunch, early dinner at Texas Roadhouse because we hadn't been there in forever because the parking lot is so hard to get into. Um, I can always leave one on the table with the tip as a little thank you to make someone's day brightened, or like leave at the library, like next to a computer, or at the coffee shop, stuff like that. And I love doing that where people find them, and I just like making people smile. So um, the easy peasy skeins were very limited in color. I think there was only six. And there, I have some ideas for some other ones because I have the kits, and of course, you get the patterns for life, and I have those printed out. So I got some colors that they did not have or they don't make available. So when we were up there, they have the beginner yarn, which is the same thing. And because it's Halloween, you got to have the orange. So I got two of those. I didn't get any of the colors that I already had in the easy peasy. I just got colors that I did not have that I know I will use to make extra little ones. So there was the orange, and it's called Orange. Very original. Very original. And then, because Thanksgiving and Christmas will be coming very soon, I got red, two of those. And these are 2.3 ounces or 65 yards. And that's all they've got on here. 75% cotton, 25% nylon. And they consider it a bulky 5. When you're working with it, it's not a bulky 5. And then they had purple or purple. Gotta love some light purple. There we go. Never have enough purple. And then last but not least, we got blue, and it's a baby blue. They had a darker blue, if I remember correctly. Oh, and I got another tape measure because I'm all the time losing my tape measures. This is Gnome is where your yarn is. And it's got the little mushroom and the gnome on the front. He's so cute. And I try and keep them in like my project bags, one next to my chair, one in here. But somehow or another, I always end up not being able to find one where I'm at. So I try and every time I go, I get an extra one because you never know. So that was light blue. So yeah, that's what we got for I Love Yarn Day. I was super excited. I hadn't been in there in forever, and I wasn't sure. I really mainly went to go look at the wall art because I knew it was 50% off this week. And so I decided to take a little peruse back there. And I keep seeing people talk about all the kits that their stores have. And my store is infamous for not really having a whole lot of selection. It's like very nil for the yarn department. And they probably maybe had I want to say 6 of the crochet kits. And I looked at them, and they were the ones with yucky yarn. And I was like, no. They did have a cute kitty. It's a calico kitty that has like a little fish purse, but I was not, I can't even remember how much it was. I mean, if I would have bought it, I would have never used the yarn that it came with. I would have used my own, but maybe, I don't know. I can't remember how much it was. But yeah, that was, and I'm excited to work, especially this one. And this one because it's going to be different because I don't normally use this color. But really, really excited about this one to use in the project that I have in mind. So yeah. So that is day 81. And yeah, I want to wish everybody an happy I Love Yarn Day. I hope you got some yarny goodness and get some yarny crafty time or some kind of a crafty time. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go, and I will be back tomorrow with day 82. And don't forget, put your suggestions or guesses in the comment section for sparkly black. Yep, very sparkly. So with that, I'm going to say bye. Have a great Saturday, and we will see you back tomorrow.